Good. We're working on our snow drifting situation that we get every year. We planted 2 rows of these Norway spruces a couple of years ago, and about 4 of them had survived. Somebody came to buy a fuel tank from me last week, and he had 200 of these in the back of his truck, and he gave me a bundle of 25. So we decided we would get them planted up here in these rows, and of course, the nice thing is we remembered our own advice and we started our rows up further than where we had originally planted them. So I guess that the trees didn't work out before worked fine. So now we've got 4 rows deep. Every one of these electrical conductors, we put a push-in electric fence post with a yellow marker on the top, just so that nobody runs into it or runs over it or walks into it with the lawnmower. And we planted about, let's see, there's it looks like there's about 6 in a row here, so that they will grow out big. So this will create a windbreak and a snow break. So we've got 4 rows started here. Lots of cleanup to do here, and we're going to have to water the heck out of these to make sure that they make it. But beyond Murdoch here, this row of pine trees, there's 5. I think those were an original snow break or wind break for a previous house that used to be back there where the pig pen was. Maybe not. But I want to plant more maple trees up here. And I'm working on my chicken coop today too. I'll take you back there and show you what's going on with the chicken coop today. So I got a lot of comments from that last video about kind of what we've got going on every day and the, you know, how the day starts, and just everything's a production. Nothing's ever easy. Everything's always just kind of planned out the night before or that morning. We kind of drink our coffee and talk about what we want to do and check the weather. And, you know, we're in Michigan, the weather changes by the hour. So I've all been in a huff about getting things set up and taken care of. The only yellow paint I could find at the store for that is cat yellow. It's not Oliver crawler yellow or industrial paint yellow. So I'm going to kind of look into the actual Oliver yellow. Maybe I'm just going to have to order it, but you know, it's never going to be a showpiece. I don't want to spend a fortune on it. I've been known to use little roller brushes. It'd be beautiful to have it painted by an auto body shop, but I'm not getting into that. So I'm going to look online for some yellow paint today. We've already looked online today for fuel filters and air filters for the tractors. And let me turn this camera around and show you what else we've been started on. So the Dodge has already been loaded up for a morning pickup for a straw sale. A lot of that going out for gardens right now. And this is a tree nursery tank that he had picked up a long time ago for watering trees on the farm. It's really great for planting an apple orchard, but when we had just the Dodge, it was the year that the steering wheel broke. I needed to go over and water the trees, and we threw an IBC tote in the back of the Dodge, and it was perfect. So we had talked about getting rid of this. It sprung a leak, so he's gonna put a patch in it and take his watering hose off and put a valve on. We've always just let it gravity drop out, which has obviously led to some wet feet here and there. Watch your head, ouch. No cussing even. Did it go through?
No, rounded enough.
I got myself on that fertilizer spreader with those hooks for the tarp, and that hurt. It's about the only time I cuss is when or if I get really, really mad about something. That takes a lot. I was the youngest of 4 kids, and my brothers and sister, well, my one brother and my sister used to beat up on me all the time, so it takes a lot for me to get really mad and get swearing. But I'm sure I'm going to be cussing and swearing on this one because there is a lot for me to be hitting my head on. So I wanted to paint it white and maybe put like some blue waves on it and write water on it, or water tank, and just have it be pretty, you know, like a city water tower. The running gear is really good on it, even if you didn't want the tank. And you could build it out, and you could put the tank up on saddles, and it could be, it's got a manhole up on top. It could be converted back for fuel use after he's got the patch in it. What did they use it for? Baby calves?
Trees.
Oh, trees. He got it from a dairy farm. So they use these a lot of times for nursery tanks to take food, like pre-mixed milk, when they're not like in a calf barn and they're in the huts, to do water or to do a milk replacer or whatever, or just, you know, poured off milk from the tank for the cows. So I said, you know, we're getting too much stuff. We got to get rid of some stuff. We've been very useful here, but it's time for it to get cleaned up and go. So what color do you think? That gray or white or?
White. I'll paint the inside again. It's painted from new on the inside.
Yeah.
For water. So I'll take the dome cover out, get in there, paint it white in there, put a new gauge on it, fix it all up great, and then
Okay.
sell it.
Well, the running gear's white, so I guess. That's gonna take, well, I did buy another wire wheel brush yesterday. Mine didn't seem to be doing as good a job. For $7, I thought, I'm not gonna spend an extra hour wire wheeling something off. And it works handy on stuff like this instead of just the wire brush. So, he'll get it emptied out and dried out. We're still supposed to have like 5 days of rain, but no rain today, or little chance of rain. It kind of feels moist like rain, but it doesn't seem to be happening. So I have got to get this sold, and then I'm going to go pick up some dining room chairs. Somebody had a match to his great-great-great-grandfather's dining room set, and they had a set of 5 chairs for $50, so they actually happen to be within 10 miles. I'm gonna go get those. Where? Maybe. All right, let me show you what he's got going on with this. He has been cutting and torching a framework off. He's gonna put it up on wood timbers. So these were built up on the side just to kind of keep it from maybe rolling or shifting. I don't really understand why they did that. But the framework that they built for this was causing it like a stress crack. So he decided he's gonna take that all apart and put it up on the wood timbers from the running gear. So basically a whole remanufacture of this tank is going on. The side rails are all cut off over there. He's gonna patch up, there's a stress crack from the way that they did this. There wasn't enough support underneath the whole framework, especially probably when we had it quite loaded, because we used it for, I think, a year and a half before we ever got a leak in it. And I think at the very end we were putting quite a bit more water in it. And when he brought it up, he hadn't realized it still had some water in it, so it'd been sitting with a little. Probably some freeze thaws caused it a little bit of a trouble, but he took the manway, or the manhole, off of the top, and he climbed right down in there, and he got it all cleaned out. He said he got about a bucket full of garbage out of there. So I'm going to start in with my new wire wheel here and start working on the tires and the framework as he gets it removed. We're going to stack up some bales of straw instead of starting up the backhoe, and we're going to, I guess, just roll this right off. Well, he got it lifted up off of its frame, all unbolted. Show it again. Show how that goes back and forth like that. Isn't that great? Perfect for a water wagon. Then it can slosh around, and that will help correct it instead of the sloshing wanting to make anything tip. So we've got it all rolled off there on the side. Rolled it right down onto the straw and hay bales. And I will start working on cleaning it up, and he's going to work on adding a brake line. It's got rear brakes. He's going to add a brake line from there to there. So this is what we got going on for the later part of the afternoon. Hi! You're making a lot of noise.
Yeah, probably echoes and comes out.
It does. It's vibrating off the ends, and George is over there screaming.
Yeah.
You start grinding, he goes, ah!
Yep.
He didn't like the sparks. Well,
When it's done, you won't even recognize it.
a lot of crap is coming off the running gear parts, too. Keep at it. I was just checking the weather. It says rain starts at 7 a.m. tomorrow. So, I keep going at it. I hate to have to sand it and paint it all in one day, but...
I wasn't.
Well, the running gear, I don't...
Do what I can. If it rains, it rains. But...
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to get so many days of rain.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Till like Thursday.
Well, I'm putting these
So,
all cooled off.
I want to see her for 5 days. Or 4 days. Okay.
All right, bud.
Okay. Hi! How's it going?
Good.
He is right inside of this tank, everybody. How many gallons is this tank?
1,100.
Okay.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Bethy.
What you doing?
Fixing.
Daddy's in there putting a patch in it.
How are you? You want to look at it?
Instead of just spot welding it where it was thin in this section here, you see, he put a patch right in it. And the one setting, it was too hot and it went right through, so we had to turn it down, but he's getting his thing all done there. He got all those brackets ground off. He said there were 16 different brackets from all the feet that they put on it. And I have started painting in on the running gear, and I decided to use that Massey Ferguson gray that I had. I had a little under a half a can of this, and it covers really nice. So yeah, that's looking a little better. It's coming along. That is a lot of brackets. Cleaning? Murdoch decided he wanted to help his dad, so they're both in there. Oh boy. Sweeping, getting it all clean. Dad's in there on that side. He was saying the tank was painted from new. There's red paint on the inside. He's thinking he's going to paint it white on the inside. Bethy, what happened to your kite? Over there where?
My car got stuck in that tree, and the post we hold on to, it got stuck in another tree right over there.
She's got like 50 feet of string let out on her kite, and she fell down, and it was windy, and we're getting a wind from the south. I've got a long piece of conduit that I never cut, and I'm going to see if I can find it so I can help her out with that, at least to try to get the handle, because the way the wind is blowing, it's going to end up across the road in a wide open field, and she's never going to see it again. Oh, that's even longer. I got some re-rod. That would probably do it. Okay, two-hand job. Okay, there's the kite. If any of you guys are master kite flyers, what's the solution for this? Her string is caught up on that little hook right there, and then it's going underneath all this. It's just light enough that I can see, but then it gets into some little branches right up there. So, little kite, it's hard to even see it. There it is. So it's stuck on this little branch, probably that one, and 1 or 2 small branches here. And when I pull on it, it's giving me resistance. So I can snap the string, and then eventually the kite's going to come down. But I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it back. It's a huge deal for a 6-year-old girl to lose her kite, and I remembered when this happened to my oldest daughter, and it happened to our son a couple of years ago. Oh no! Somebody lost their shoe in a mud hole. You better help him! Hi, George! Everyone's always helping him. Okay. Alright, so you got my string. My string is blowing because of the wind. Sure would be nice if it would kind of go off where I don't want it. Alright, I'm going to work on this a little bit. Well, I thought I'd show you what the running gear looks like all put together. We have the wheels back on from the taking off of painting, and it looks so much better. It really bothered me because this one was all red and all the rest of them were white, and I thought I don't want to leave that two-toned. I really like this paint. It's super good, and it dries pretty hard. It doesn't stay soft like, you know, sometimes they are gummy. We waited 2 days. We had a rain before I could do the second coat, and he sent me yesterday to go pick up some fittings. We got this brake line put in here, and it needed a new bleeder. This is my shopping list from yesterday. Okay, this is all just Menards, except for you see car key copy. Well, when we got the car, it only had 1 key, so I've been learning about that. Whole nother deal. He wanted to add some new brackets here because instead of doing it the way they did, we're putting new timbers on it to hold the tank, like on a running gear. He decided he didn't want to use the running gear timbers from the hay wagon that I took apart because it was quite a bit longer and they tend to bowed. They're really good for somebody who wants like barn beams. So he sent me out on my shopping list. He wanted me to get some 4x6s by 12. Now we ended up saving $10 by buying 2x6s. These are treated lumber, and he said he's just going to laminate these together and have his 4x6 this way because, you know what? In this business, everything, every penny, every dollar. If we sell something, we want it to be as good as if we were using it, and we end up using stuff as, you know, limping by mode all the time. So to have this, he had me pick up a ball valve for this to run proper instead of just gravity because we lost several gallons of water doing it that way. And you know what? For $6 for a PVC ball valve, it worked great. Now I had to get more of the Rust-Oleum white for this because that cheapo Magic, it has 2 coats here and I can still see the brown underneath. And you know, why not have it look a little bit nicer? So right now at Tractor Supply, it's $10 less a gallon than it normally is, and it's still cheaper than what it normally is at Tractor Supply. And I had forgotten when I painted the spreader fins on the back needed some touch-up paint, and I didn't do that. So when I got down to the bottom of my gallon, I still have to do the back side of the manhole covers for this. So it's coming along. I think it's doing pretty good. We're having some rain coming down today, so it's putting off my chores for the rest of the day. I've been working on this little red tank here. He's been welding this big one. And then I have another red tank over there, and I left the kids to painting while I ran errands yesterday, and big surprise, that one got finished for its first coat, and then everything left. This one was supposed to get a second coat and then go back to that one. So I've got some more work to do today, but 20% chance of rain and it's coming down. So again, working on ordering parts. I was online this morning. We needed a window regulator for the passenger side door of that. So when I do that, we'll make a little video of that because I love my little repair videos. It's how the whole channel got started. So right now I'm off to the post office because we ordered new headlights for the car and they came in. So I'm gonna go get those before the lady leaves for lunch because she's got a short day. She leaves at 3 every day and it's hard to catch her. Here's a good share for you. Men at work. George and his dad are putting the tank all set up on the running gear. He's got the 2x6s mounted here. See how I said he was gonna laminate them together? He got longer lag bolts so he could put them together. I was kind of wondering about screwing them together from this side also. I don't know if it's necessary or not. He added support brackets here that weren't there originally. So now we'll set this up on there. The bottom's had its second coat of the Rust-Oleum paint. So we're gonna go ahead and put it up there so that he can work on the fittings. And then I'll hit the side here with a second coat. You can see how old the tank is, that they bent it by like actually bending it instead of curving it. But right through certain areas where it was sitting on the board, you can see little marks. So thin, that paint's real thin. Some areas thinner than others, and I ran out, so little spot right there. I really ran out on this section here. So I'll get all of that, a good coating with the Rust-Oleum, which will give it a longer life probably, having the Rust-Oleum as a base coat and as the top coat. These little parts need another coat here. I used the brush on the side and it had picked up some of the rust dust off of that. Okay, it's just gonna set right on here. You wanna take these staples out first?
Here, please. Help me maneuver this back.
So we did the smart thing with the steering being so rough on the backhoe. We pushed the running gear to where the tank was sitting.
I'm making a movie. I'm making a movie for the computer.
See? Gotta figure out what's the problem with that steering, but you know, as busy as we've been, you don't think of it until you have to use it to load a tank, and we've been doing a lot of tank loading and selling lately. He said there's just about no steering on it at all right now. But look at how nice that is looking. I don't know if you can see down in the lower part right there, all that oil cooler leaks out. That bottom corner is rusted out. And that was never a problem before that. Okay, so we're gonna get this mounted up with some fittings. I don't know if it just sits there. I imagine it's gonna need some kind of fastening down. But that is quite an improvement on this water tank. So I'm not sure if the tank just sits there, if it requires some fastening down, but we're gonna get onto all this. It's looking a whole lot better. Quite an improvement on this old water tank. It's always nice to see a makeover on things like this. It's just too bad that we don't need it anymore and we waited to fix it up for the next guy.
Have a in them like most people do.
You can't even hardly see it. I picked him up a threaded to barb fitting and he already had the small clamps, and I picked him up a section of clear hose. You see that? So there's your fill tube. Well, is that what you call it? Sight?
Sight.
All right, there's his sight tube. All figured out. He kept trying to explain to me, and I didn't understand that the two were connecting. And I'll tell you, I only slightly whacked my head once, so there was not a lot of swearing, and I knew it was coming, and I ducked quick. So he figured out what he wanted to do, or let me in on the plan of what he wanted to do here of attaching the tank. We've got some steel cable and some, what are they, 3.5 inch eyelet bolts. So he's pre-drilled some holes into his beams here on the side. Okay, all the screaming little kids playing in the water have gone in to get changed, so I can show you guys what he's done here a little bit better. First he did the eyelet, which is just hilarious because he sent me to Menards to buy all the parts he needed yesterday, and I can't believe how busy that store is. Doesn't matter if it's a weekday or a weekend, but I think everybody was there getting what they needed so that they would have it for Saturday and Sunday. Plus it is Memorial Weekend this weekend, and we hadn't realized that because every day is just another farm work day around here. But there's his sight tube that we had mentioned. Murdoch was asking about that. This is the original hose that was on it. We got the slow moving vehicle sign on it. He put a valve, and if they wanted to extend the hose, you can put another threaded to barb fitting here with more hose. And I believe that's gas hose, isn't it? Fuel truck hose, yep. 1 1/4 inch. And the running gear has brakes. So we went with the coated cable so that it doesn't scratch up the nice paint. He's got to put the man cover or manway back on. And then these are just pinched down with the cable clamps. These weren't necessary, so we just plugged them. And if you were wondering, like I was wondering, the ripples, old tanks, just cheaper metal. He says it was an old cheap tank. This thing has been a project I wanted to work on for a long time, and I had no idea about the running gear. I just thought, oh, we'll paint it, and it looks so much better. Here's his new fuel line, and I didn't notice this until later. Yes, this is his new brake line, not fuel line. He put a new bleeder in there, and he even put a little protector tube so that that's not rubbing. The guy at O'Reilly's really had a hard time getting me the right fittings for that. And then he said this is your master cylinder, so that if you brake hard, it sets that off so that you're braking and stopping.
Surge brake.
It's called what?
Surge brake.
Oh, he says it's called surge brake. I've never heard of that.
If you stop your truck fast, your tractor pushes on the master cylinder, and the rear brakes on the trailer kick in on the wagon.
Did you hear all that?
Nope.
Say it again.
If you stop fast with your truck or tractor, the tongue pushes on the master cylinder and then applies the brakes on the rear axle.
Okay.
And they're pretty crappy. They just come on. So then
Yeah.
guys would have those cushion hitches on their trucks because they're really jerky.
Oh. So if you were on a bumpy terrain or anything,
If
like
you
out in an
stop
orchard
too quick,
watering trees.
they just come on. So they're not that great, but whatever.
Well, this is the biggest project I have done with the Rust-Oleum paint, and I have to tell you, it's the Rust-Oleum Farm and Implement paint. It went on so nice, and I used a brush and roller on the entire project. He brought me some sprayers, and Eventually, I'm going to have to get them out, clean them, and get them fired up because those doubles that came here for fuel storage, they, boy, I almost think they should be camouflaged. So this is the finished job on the water tank. We're going to be putting it up for sale. We're going to take some pictures of it tonight, and it is going to be out of here by the time this video gets posted, we hope. The way things have been going on Facebook lately with farm implements, if we clean them up and get them ready to go, farmers are coming and buying stuff that we have had that we picked up on auctions for a little bit of money or decided not to use anymore. But this is a big one, and I'm glad to see it go and glad that it's going to get used someplace else. So that's it for tonight, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.